Grameen Bank's Mohammed Yunus, who won the 2006 Nobel Prize, to the conclusion in my title. When you get mobile phone, it's almost like having a card to get out of poverty in a couple of years. And the famous economist of the Earth Institute in Columbia University in New York, Jeffrey Sachs, agrees with what Mr. Yunus said. Mobile phones is the single most transformative tool for development. Not PCs, not internet, not anything else. It's mobile phone. So the pundits and gurus of the world agree that mobile phones mean really development, poverty alleviation, etc. But often such perceptions have been drawn from anecdotal evidence, as in the early days of the telecom movement. Look at what happened since morning here. Lot of anecdotal evidence. Sendil brought a series of people from 8 different centers, from Haryana to Tamil Nadu to Pondicherry and Karnataka, to narrate their own experience, how they benefited using cell phones, whether they are fishermen, whether they are animal husbandry people rearing goats, whether they are farmers growing gingerly or rice. They are all giving their opinions based on their actual experience in the field. Good. So far, so good. But still they are anecdotal. So, in the early days of this telecom movement in development, particularly in the development arena, the application of telecom in development, there have been some something happened which were not really good. For example, 3 major institutions of the world, Harvard, MIT and IIT Madras, I think 3 of the best technology institutions in the entire world, joined hands on a project, an ICT-enabled development, rural development project. Their goal was to work in southern districts of Tamil Nadu, especially to alleviate poverty there. All of them, no one can question, none in this audience or elsewhere in the world can question their undoubted ability with technology. Harvard and MIT are full of Nobel laureates. IIT is the best known institution in India, and all over the world there, the students are grabbed. So their prowess is not questioned at all. They are champions in technology. They went down to Madurai and other places, set up shops, and then tried hard. Fell flat on the face. All 3 technology institutions couldn't do much. They couldn't achieve much. Whereas a lowly trained group associated with Swaminathan here started doing something a little earlier than these guys, the technology guys, in Puducherry, now earlier called Pondicherry. They took time, but then they were able to show some results. What made this difference? The difference was Sendil and his predecessor, first and foremost, went to the people, talked to them, found out what they wanted. Simple. If you are a customer, and if I want to sell you something, I must know what you want. If you want milk, I cannot give you tea. If you want tea, I cannot give you coffee. That's simple. They did that. So the understanding of people, their needs, that was a prime thing. And this morning, Ashok Jhunjhunwala made a statement that they did try, and then there was some infrastructure issues. Actually, it was not infrastructure issue. It was a human relations issue, human understanding issue. So ICT for deep programs must be people-centric and not driven by technology. Technology follows. It's people who are first and foremost. Now, this is important in the mobile era as well. Now, as I said earlier, ICT-enabled development has more to do with economics and social policy or public policy than developing or applying technologies. Besides, in ICT, it is the C or communication which is the most important element. There is again, I will quote two experts. Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo from MIT Cambridge recently wrote a book. The key point that they want to make must be, they said, focus must be on measurement in general and randomized controlled trials in particular, by which they mean actual data or evidence gathered on the ground is paramount. The most important thing, actual data or evidence gathered from the field. That's what we should do. And they also, in the ultimate analysis, the two most important elements for success in any technology-enabled development initiative are people participation and appropriate social policies. And there is one more thing. Now, Nokia, one of the leading companies in the telecom industry, employs full-time human behavior experts who travel all over the world, looking at how people live, what they want, what they do, and so on. Short of entering your bedroom, they get to know everything else about you. And they use this as the basis for developing new technologies. These companies, whether it is Qualcomm or whether it is Nokia or Ericsson, they know full well that the next billion people that the mobile phone should reach are even poorer than the previous ones. Which means they have to rejig their devices in price point, in needs assessment and so on. So the corporations know that customer interests are more important, they have to understand them. The development people also should do that. Fortunately, in the mobile for development era, there have been excellent examples of looking at what is important and how to go about, like measurements and so on, like controlled trials, etc. I will quote only two examples. There was an economist in Harvard who moved out of Harvard recently by name Robert Jensen. He came all the way to Kerala, spent a few months with the fishermen along the coast stretching about 150 miles, and found out as and when a cell phone arrives, the situation changes. Not the entire 150 mile stretch did not have cell phones at the same time. It arrived in one place first, it came later in another place and so on. So it was very useful for him to study. The moment the cell phone comes, the way the fishermen operate, the trade behaves, and the community takes advantage, everything changed. He showed that the single price phenomenon took place after the mobile phone came. There was not much difference in prices from the entire market of 150 kilometers or so. He showed many other things. And the important point he made was everybody benefited, including children going to school and hospital admissions going less and so on. There's another study by Jenny Aker on the grain markets in Niger, in Africa. These studies were essentially based on actual measurement, random design, etc. What I'm suggesting is development people should not talk poorly of academics as ivory tower and so on. We should borrow some of these techniques from them and use them. And if we cannot borrow and adopt it ourselves, we should invite them to join hands. No harm bringing academic partners.